Most people treat having just a simple conversation like it's a skill that they need to unlock in a video game. You spend your time reading, 5 tips for better eye contact or memorizing a list of interesting questions to ask at a party or on a date. You treat talking to people like you're trying to crack some sort of a code, and because you're so focused on that code, you're probably missing the person standing right in front of you. And that's where a lot of your conflict is when it comes to talking to people. The true reason that you're bad at talking to people, it's not because you don't have enough social skills or enough social prowess to make it happen. It's because you have too many. I know. Bear with me. I know it sounds kind of weird. What do you mean? I got too much social skill? That sounds crazy. That sounds like cope. It really is because you have too many. You are over-engineered for the task. Just take a second and think about it. You're so busy performing the role of a good conversationalist that you've actually become some sort of a static being that just gives off a incomplete signal. Have you ever tried to get better at something? Have you ever had the pressure placed on you to perform and you just all of a sudden drop the ball? That's what you're doing every day in micro little moments, and it's keeping you from having genuine connections that create strong social bonds. The harder that you sit there and just try to be a try-hard, charismatic person, it's actually the more awkward you become. It feels inorganic. It doesn't feel real. People can pick up on it. And I just always feel like it's better to be genuine, obviously in a way where you can actually read the room and not do something stupid, but being genuine, being real, and believe it or not, taking care of your own emotions first, your own wants and needs first in a conversation. And I truly feel like we make socializing way harder than it ever needed to be. We've turned a natural human function into this high pressure on the stage performance. And as a people pleaser myself, I have struggled with this massively. If you think, oh, Cozy, easy for you to say, you're this, you're that. Nah, dude, I've struggled with this too. I've made a lot of mistakes, I've made a lot of progress, and I'm sitting here where I feel like I mostly across the board have good, genuine connections with people, and I'd like to consider myself a decent conversationalist. So before a word even has the chance to come out of your mouth, you're already communicating. You guys have probably heard this before. Most advice tells you to stand tall or open your shoulders or talk with your arms open. And that's fine, that's cute. But of course, obviously that's superficial advice. You've heard it before. You could probably find it on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. It's not really high level thinking. When people tend to get nervous, they actually hold tension in their jaw, their neck, and their hands. And other humans can definitely sense that friction. It's almost like a frictional debt from the conversation. They could sense that from a mile away. If you have a weird movement in your jaw, if you grab on your neck or cross your arms or look behind them, they can feel that. It makes people feel tense. And if you want to talk to anyone or just have an easier time with the general public and make some friends even, your first job is to be the most relaxed person in the room. And that's hard. But man, if you can get yourself to the point where you just chill out, realize the stakes are not high, if you just say listen, I'm good with it. If this goes the worst case scenario it could possibly go, if I'm at the water fountain, I'm talking to my coworker and I drop the bottle on myself, slip and fall, you'll be okay. It'll be fine. It's going to be embarrassing. You're going to think about it at 3 a.m. every night for the next 20 years of your life, but you'll be okay. Think about if you saw somebody doing something weird or misspeaking or whatever. You don't judge them. You just kind of shrug your shoulders and be like, I guess that's what it's like to be a human. And if you're in social situations and you just decide, you know what, I'm going to try to chill out, I don't care what happens here, and you get to the point where you could be more relaxed, if you're a low tension object in the room, people naturally gravitate towards you. Because at that point, you're not representing pressure for them. Everybody feels pressure, But if you're not representing that weird pressure, that social pressure being on the stage, you become a safe interaction for them. You're not a threat to their social energy. It's genuine connection. It's real and it lasts. And it's crazy when you're getting advice on how to be a better friend or how to be better socially. Everybody says the number one thing is be a good listener. Listen more than you talk. But you know what? It's as much as it's genuine advice and it's very generic, most people, while they're, quote unquote listening, they're actually just waiting their turn to speak. If you're in that situation, you're nodding your head along and internally you're rehearsing your next sentence. You want to get the perfect insight. You want them to think you're smart. You want them to think you're funny. You want them to enjoy the conversation so much. You don't really put the mirror on yourself and realize, am I enjoying this conversation or am I just in service to them? And that process in turn taxes your social battery, and maybe you're less prompt, you're less quick on your feet for a good conversation, and all of a sudden it just fizzles out. But if you're just planning out your next sentence instead of actually hearing what they're saying and engaging the conversation, that's not listening. It's just a delay in the script. A general solid tip for just talking to anybody is to listen for the why in the conversation. Why instead of listening for the what. If somebody says, I just got back from a trip to Japan, don't ask, oh, what did you see there? How was the cherry blossoms? How was the food? That's a data request. It's thoughtful. I get why you'd ask for it, but unless you have well-established rapport, or if maybe there actually is something that you two share together, we gotta dig into talking about this food. That's why we're friends. We're actually both really big foodies. That makes sense. But if you're just trying to engage conversations on like a first date basis or a coworker or somebody you're not super close with, you want to ask for the why. You don't ask, what did you see in Japan? You ask, why did you choose Japan? Like, why Japan over Portugal or Spain or London or Australia or somewhere in South America? Because not only does that extrapolate a million different ideas and different lanes for the conversations to go, which takes a lot of pressure off you to come up with a topic. I know I've put that pressure on myself, but it doesn't only open more topics, it also shows like, oh, this person has to care. You can't phone it in this deep. This person cares about me. They want to know what makes me tick. They want to know deeper into things. And it's not like you have to do everything like an interview, like you're in a job interview and really try to find these hard-hitting questions, but genuinely look inside yourself, look inside your brain. What would you want somebody to ask you if you were doing something? And also, what do you genuinely want to know about this person? What do you want to share with them? Actually put some critical time to think about it. And there's another idea that I know 80 to 85% of you guys are not going to do. You're going to flat out refuse to do it because it is not easy. But let me tell you, it is so unexpectedly gratifying and actually pretty effective. I like to call it creating a social vacuum. In most conversations we have, people are terrified of silence, and I get it. Silence makes me nervous, and with the wrong crowd, it really freaks me out. But I work against that sometimes, and when I'm not feeling like I have to fill every single gap of conversation with noise, or random thoughts in my head, or just stuff that I'm not even genuinely feeling, when that silence happens, and you just let it happen, and you don't panic and throw out a random low-value comment just to keep the performance going, and you let it sit, something in the conversation shifts. When you're having a conversation and a topic finally dies down, which it will, that's how conversation works, just stay there. Breathe. You could look around, you could do whatever you want, but just look at the person you're talking to. Be comfortable. And wait, it's not on you. You're not putting on a performance. You don't have to put on the top hat and the cane and la-da-da-da-da on the stage. 90% of the time, the other person will actually feel that social vacuum, and they will fill it with something much more honest or personal or pertinent than whatever filler you were going to drop on the floor. And by not talking in that situation, you're actually signaling that you are a high status enough person to be comfortable in a quiet room. You're showing them a piece of you that's vulnerable, which is what you look like in a given situation when you're not yapping your face off. This could turn into genuine connection, invites to hang out, or even just a genuine reflection on how you made them feel in a previous conversation or topic. You just got to keep that door open and people will walk through it. And this also signals to them and yourself internally that you're not desperate for anybody's approval. You're not desperate for any specific outcome. Unmarry yourself from the outcome. And this one shift conversationally can take you from being like a performer on a stage to actually being an anchor of conversation. And then all of a sudden, maybe people are performing a little bit for you. Maybe people hold on to your every word because they come out less. And the reality is, talking to anybody is easy once you realize that everyone else is just as nervous as you are. Unless they're crazy, unless they're nuts and they don't watch my videos, they're all performing too. They're all worried about being too much or not enough for the conversation, just like you. And if you cut through that and it's signal to them like, hey, it's no biggie with me. You could fall flat on your face. I'll still feel the same way about you. If you could signal that with your body language and your actual language, it's going to be plenty. Stop that rehearsal, kill whatever script you have written in your head, just show up, be a low tension object, and let the conversation happen. You're not a performer. You're probably just a guy. But right now, guys, I have a challenge for you. I want you guys to put in the comment section right now, type me out a comment. What is one goal you have for yourself socially, or one accomplishment you've had socially in the last, I don't know, year or so? Let me know in the comments. For me, it's just that I've been giving people more time to breathe. I feel like I'm letting my jokes kind of breathe more. I'm not sweating the small stuff, and I'm keeping things more casual. So pretty much the exact advice from this video. Thank you guys so much for all the support on the channel lately. I cannot possibly thank you enough. If you guys want to connect with me off of YouTube, you can go ahead and join my Discord. It is linked in the description. A bunch of like-minded people who are interested in self-improvement and gaming and talking and chatting. We're building a nice community, and I would love to have you guys be a part of it. All right, enjoy your weekend. Have a great day, guys.